Hello and welcome to this first meeting here with this first week in Introduction to Psychology here at KVCC, and thank you for picking KVCC to do this class. My name is Dr. Mark Kavanagh and I'm the teacher of this class. I'm also the chair of the Department of Social Sciences and Psychology at KVCC, and I really look forward to having this class with you. I have another class full of high school students that started at the beginning of the semester, and now you folks are starting here. So we're in week 1 here. So what I wanted to do with this first session that we have together is introduce you to what to expect from this class, what is this Brightspace thing, and how am I going to use it, definitively getting into the document that you have to download or get, the course book for this class, and then the sequence of events that's going to be happening. When is everything due in order for you to achieve the best grade that you can? So Introduction to Psychology is really a survey class that looks at the entire field of psychology. And you think about that word survey, think about individuals that survey the land, like surveyors that have those telescopes. I think it's all digital now, but they have those telescopes and they look around and they survey the whole field. And that's what this class is all about, is to introduce you to the field of psychology by exploring within each chapter all of its major fields of interest and whatnot. And we barely skim the surface. There's a lot of areas in psychology that we don't cover. There's a lot of interesting things about psychology that will not happen in this class. But certainly, maybe it will give you some interest in the field of psychology as you think about your life and your career. Now, this class is being run by KVCC. I work for KVCC. All of our online classes reside in a learning management system that we call Brightspace, or that's actually what they call themselves. So we're going along with that and we call it Brightspace. This class does not have any necessary times in which we're going to meet face-to-face. It's what we would call asynchronous. You have to manage your time knowing when everything is due to make sure you get all the work lined up. And we'll be going over that a little bit. That doesn't mean that I'm unwilling to meet with you. If you have a problem with this class or a specific question, I urge you to reach out to me through the discussion boards or through email. Get in touch with me, and I'm perfectly glad to set up a Zoom meeting where we can meet, or even meet face-to-face if that's even more convenient. So I want to start off first by let's take a little tour of this interface that we call Brightspace. Now, as you enter into the class here, you can see there's, in the announcements section, that's where this video is going to be. Hopefully you found it, but it's not there yet because I'm still recording it. So what you're going to see in this area is each week I'm going to be posting a little video like this talking about what we're going to be doing this week. What chapters are we discussing? What graded material is going to be there? And that will be posted in the announcements section. So right when you enter into the class, you're going to see that. This is also where I'm going to post information about when things are graded. So there's no sense asking me when some grade is going to happen until you see me post a grade is happening. So when a discussion gets graded, I'll post in there, I'll say chapter 2 discussion has been graded. When a quiz or an assignment or anything going to be posted in there. So this is a place to come in every day and see what I've done in order for us to interact. This is my primary message system is through the announcements. From here, there's really only one place to go, and that's the content section here. And once we're in the content section, there's really, let's start with the overview here. We'll get to the timeline in a bit. There's only 2 links, the overview and the course timeline. The overview talks about the start of this class, the dates of which are wrong. I'll have to fix that. I actually created this class at the beginning of the semester, so I didn't correct that grade. This is actually beginning on September 26th. What we have after that is a little navigating this course. I'm kind of going to be dealing with that right now as I do that. And then we move right into this section where I introduce the course book and the textbook. Now, first, we're going to go to the textbook right here. This is a free book. If you click right there, it's going to bring you to this website, and this is the official textbook. You can view it online, download a PDF, or order a print copy. This book, although it's not the primary resource, is an excellent secondary and reference resource in this class. That's why it's listed second. The course book is more important. However, I urge you to read it. I'm going to be covering in my own content the important things that I think you need to know in order to have a successful Introduction to Psychology class. The whole field is better described in that textbook, so I really encourage you to read the textbook and use it as a reference. Many times I will ask you to do things that are not completely explained within the course book. You may have to go to the textbook, and you may need to go beyond the textbook in order to address the particular question or assignment that I have for you. Now, the other book in this class is one that I authored, and it contains all the content for this class. There's no reading material that is posted within this class. This book is available as a free PDF. You can buy it through Apple Books for $4.99, or you can order a print version for about $30 from Amazon. But it's available for free, and if I click on the PDF, it downloads right into my browser. Take that out a little bit. And this is the Introduction to Psychology course book. This is the 7th edition. Now, the entire course is organized in chapters. The chapters in my course book correspond exactly in name and number to the chapters in the textbook. But we use the course book in order to explain my lectures, to bring to you links to videos, to bring you to links to resources, and to explain the assessments that I have. So if we scroll down here, there's lots of front matter, including an index, and then some information about how the course book works. We'll skip over that. Then there's, this is assessment material for learning outcomes, and then here's the textbook right there, a little bit about me, and we enter into chapter 1. Now, each chapter is organized in 4 sections. One is the attention section, where I kind of try to grab your attention with some interesting material here. I have a little video right here. If you click on that, it'll start playing. Then I go into the learning outcomes, what I expect you to learn in this particular chapter. Then we go into the teaching section, and this is all what we would call lecture material. You go through that, you're reading all of this information, some graphics to support my message. Go in the history of psychology, pictures of the famous psychologists here, just a few of them. Links to different websites here. And these images right here are what are called QR codes. If you have the print version of this particular course book, you can scan your phone over that. You use the camera and you scan that over the QR code, and it takes you to the website. So all the links have the QR code associated with them. Now, once you've made it all the way through the material, you enter into the assessment section, and this is where I describe the assignments. In this particular chapter, this first chapter, this week's, you have a discussion, you have a quiz, and you have an assignment. Once this week is done, it gives you all, like you can see here, the assignment goes into very good detail here, and then we have the criteria for success, or basically the rubric right here, and resources, and then we go into chapter 2. So the importance of the course book can't be underestimated. You have to be using this book in order to know what I'm focusing on, in order to know what I'm expecting from you. So let's take a look at Brightspace again. You scroll down again, I'm on the page that is the overview and syllabus. We got our course book, you've downloaded, you access your textbook, some information about me, my website, that's my email. and then support resources at KVCC, and then we go down here and here's the syllabus for the class. You can print that off. It gives you a whole outline of all the different assignments and how you are going to be graded, all these weighted grades and whatnot. Now, I told you there was only 2 links that you have to worry about. Here's the overview, and then down here is the course timeline. If I click on the timeline, I have some introduction information here, some stuff to do before you start. There's a course lounge, there's course questions. Those are open discussion boards for off-topic and questions regarding the class. I check that multiple times a day. Student intake form is an optional way to tell me about any special needs that you might have. And then we enter into the expectations of each class. Now this week, beginning Monday, September 26th and ending Sunday, October 2nd at midnight, we're going to be covering Chapter 1. And what is due is Chapter 1 quiz, Chapter 1 discussion, and Chapter 1 assignment. Now, we saw those when we looked at the course book. Here's the course book, and we see Chapter 1 discussion. That's what that's about. Chapter 1 quiz. You see I give you the question of the quiz. Almost all the time, I give you the question. And, and then Chapter 1 assignment. This specific assignment has you look up a historical figure within psychology. And rather than just a boring bio on them, what I want you to do is make believe that you are that person and that you're applying for a job to teach for me at KVCC. So you'll be writing a cover letter and a resume. Now within the course book, you'll see the details that I'm looking for in that particular assignment are right here. Here's the cover letter, the resume design, what should be in the resume in terms of content, some personal history, and then mechanics. And this is all contained. The personal history, I've had some submissions where they've included that in the cover letter, some where they've included that in the resume. It's just a different way of doing an assignment looking at a historical figure. Now I portray a number of very, very significant people in the history of psychology within the first chapter. I suggest actually finding somebody else. Those people would have extensive resumes. You might want to get somebody who hasn't done quite as much to shape the world. Okay, but you can see you have this book called the course book, and that's where you're learning the material. You're preparing your discussions, you're preparing your quizzes, and then you're preparing your discussions, and then you go into Brightspace. And when you go into Brightspace, you go to the course timeline, and these links right here, those will take you to the quiz, take you to the discussion, and take you to the assignment to actually submit that work. Now each chapter, I've developed a course 1 lecture video, chapter 2 lecture video. Here's some additional information for that particular special assignment right there. Those things. So those will appear. Here's chapter 3, and more will appear as I get them done here, working ahead to get those lectures. That is an optional lecture where I go over the material that's in the course book to help support the particular assignments. Now, I made a little mention there of a thing called special assignments. The last chapter in the course book is a set of special assignments, and there are 3 of them in this particular course. These are courses that are not linked to specific chapters, but they kind of like they're special. That's why I call them special assignments. The first one is we're going to calculate a correlation based on existing data, the instructions to which are in the course book. The second one is going to be creating a behavior plan for yourself when we're in the learning chapter, learning about operant conditioning, the uses of rewards and punishments to shape people's behavior. And the last one, sort of what would be called a research paper, but I prefer to call it an information literacy paper, where you are going to pose a psychological question. That psychological question, we're going to go back and forth about that through a quiz that you take and retake until you get a 100 on it. And that is the question you are going to seek within the peer-reviewed literature, professional journal articles in the field of psychology. What did they have to say about that? Unlike some research papers that you might have done up till now, I'm not asking you to form an opinion. I'm asking you to be a reporter, to report out what does the field of psychology say about this particular question. As we approach that assignment, which is due at the end of the semester, I'll be posting an additional special video about that particular assignment, going into some detail. And of course, if you have any questions, you're free to get in touch with me. That's it. That's pretty much the course as it is. We have a course book, textbook, Brightspace, the three legs of this class. My recommendation is you look at this week and each of the coming up weeks, is you look at it, you see what's due in the timeline, you read the chapter in the textbook first, get that whole piece of information, move then to the course book, read the chapters in there, put together your materials for the assessments, and submit those as early as you can. You can work on quizzes ahead of time, you can work on assignments ahead of time, but I'm going to ask you not to work. You can prepare, but not post into the discussions of future weeks. We want to be all together in that particular process because it's interactive. Now, as I say that, now we're looking at chapter 1. As we've described in the timeline, the first chapter you're going to be looking at is chapter 1, which introduces you to the field of psychology, and you're left with a discussion, a quiz, and an assignment. Now, I've already described the assignment. That's the cover letter and the resume. Chapter 1 quiz asks you to consider the goals of psychology, which is to describe, explain, predict, and control. This is covered both in the textbook and the course book. And I want you to think about and do research on. This is going to be research beyond the books. You're going to have to go online. You're going to have to do some research about what is the field of psychology said about a particular topic, let it be substance abuse or how we perceive things or what is vision like. It doesn't have to be social problems. That's not the only part of psychology. It could be just look through the course book or look through the textbook to find ideas about some topic. And then I want you to describe as best you can based on your research, how has the field of psychology described, explained, predicted, and controlled within the context of that topic. And finally, the discussion, which is interactive with your peers. I want you to look at the American Psychological Association's website, find the area that has the divisions of the website of the APA, and look at all the different areas of interest that are officially part of that organization. The American Psychological Association is the largest professional organization in the world. Although it says American Psychological Association, there are chapters all over the world, the Canadian Psychological Association and whatnot, and they work in cohesion with each other. There are a lot of psychologists, including myself, that belong to that organization, and we find our interests to be represented within that organization. I think you might be surprised what you find in terms of the areas that a psychologist can work in. So I'm having you explore that, not to convert you into a psychology major, although that would be cool, but to look at the diversity of issues and topics that psychology explores. Now, these videos are going to be really short. This is a little bit longer. I'm pretty much just going to go over what is due for the given week. And then I'm going to be posting, of course, videos into the course timeline, one for each chapter. So I wish you good luck as you enter into this class. I urge you to read a lot, to post early, get your work done early in each week. Because this course is compressed, it started later in the semester, still has the same end date in December. So most of the weeks you have more than one chapter to cover. So it's going to be very important that you keep in touch, with what is due, and that you keep reading and doing the work as you make your way through this class. Again, I'll reiterate, if there's any issues that come up, anything that you need to talk to me about, certainly send me a message or post into the course questions discussion board, and I'll respond quickly. And just to reiterate, it's all over the course, but when you are participating in online discussions, and many of you might have some experience of that thanks to the pandemic, my expectation is to get full credit, you have to respond to my prompt, and then you have to reply to at least 2 other people's postings. You could be replying to me, or you can be replying to any of your peers. But when it comes to grading, I'm looking for a minimum of 3 posts for you to get full credit. Those posts should be substantive. The good job, great, I agree are not going to count. Respond with a question that explore a little bit more in depth what that person is saying. There's a lot of learning that happens in that kind of interaction that happens within the discussion boards. So again, get in touch with me if you have any issues, and have a great week and enjoy your first week in Introduction to Psychology.